Hey guys, this is Harry with UBR Tech. Welcome back to the channel. Before I get started, if you like my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you subscribe, you'll be notified with all the new videos that are uploaded, and it helps the channel grow. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Back in November of 2020, I reviewed the Hellcat OSP, and it scored a 7.2. Today we'll be looking at the Hellcat RDP. Keep in mind, I won't be giving the Hellcat RDP a score. And the reason why I'm not going to give it a score is because I feel like essentially it's the same gun, just with a few upgrades. So I'll be going over all the upgrades they added to the RDP and giving you my opinion if I think the upgrades are worth the extra money. So from my understanding, the upgrades are the threaded barrel on the comp, the 2.0 trigger, the Hex Wasp red dot, and the optional thumb safety. Let's talk about each one more in detail. The RDP comes with a 3.8-inch hammer forged barrel that has a melanite finish, and the threads are 1/2x28. 1/2x28 is the most common thread pitch for silencers. So that's a plus if you're planning on using the RDP with a can. The compensator is machined from 8082 aluminum and anodized matte black. The comp is also self-indexing, so you can easily remove and reinstall it without any shims or additional parts for proper timing. I love this feature. It's so easy to remove and reinstall the comp. I wish more comp manufacturers could use this self-indexing setup. I shot the Hellcat RDP with and without the compensator. The Hellcat is a very snappy micro compact, and while the compensator does reduce the recoil a little bit, I was hoping it would have reduced more of the recoil. Keep in mind, with the added comp, you'll need a holster with an opening at the muzzle area or a custom holster to accommodate the RDP's comp. As far as the Gen 2 trigger goes, it's been recontoured for better ergonomics. Springfield says it should feel more comfortable, but for me personally, I didn't feel much of a difference. This Hellcat's trigger pull comes in at 4 pounds and 11 ounces. So I heard some people were reporting an issue with the trigger safety. Before we get into it, let me show it that I'm clear. The issue that it was reported was if you were to pull the trigger without pulling the trigger safety, this piece right here, then the trigger gets bound up or locked up and you can't pull the trigger, even if you were to reposition your finger onto the trigger safety and pull. So I don't think I'm going to be able to show you exactly what they're talking about because this Hellcat RDP doesn't have that issue, but I'm going to try to explain it as best as possible. So this piece right here, without pulling the trigger safety, hits the grip module, and that's the safety on the trigger. Okay, so that's supposed to work that way. So they're saying if you were to pull the gun out of the holster and not properly put your finger onto the trigger safety and start pulling, then this piece right here goes against the grip module. And then let's say you try to reposition your finger over the trigger safety, you wouldn't be able to continue to pull the trigger. Again, I haven't been able to reproduce what they are saying on this Hellcat. Just keep in mind, if you were to pick one of these up, you may or may not have this issue. While we're talking about it, let's go to the trigger. So you pull the trigger, you get a little bit of a lead up, you hit a defined wall, keep pulling, you hit a crisp break. Now let's feel the reset. A little bit of travel, reset, you're right back on the wall, and a crisp break. So the reset is audible, but not as tactile as I would prefer it, but still good. It's not bad. And it's a little long. Overall, I still think they did a good job with this trigger, but I don't notice that much of an improvement over the Gen 1. Let's move on to the red dot. The RDP comes with a Hex Wasp red dot, and it's said to be optimized for low mounting to co-witness with the stock iron sights, which is true. You could definitely co-witness iron sights with this red dot. Anyone that has watched my past reviews could guess that I would like this feature. Some of the other features of the Hex Wasp are it has a 3.5 MOA dot, auto dimming, anti-glare, and scratch resistant glass lens that has a 1x magnification. The body is made out of 6061 T6 aluminum. It's always on, and the battery is said to last 65,000 hours of runtime. The Hex Wasp takes a CR2032 battery. It has a IPX7 waterproof rating, and it comes with a lifetime warranty. All that being said, I'm still not a big fan of this red dot. The first reason why I'm not a fan is because the dot's too small. You won't be able to tell in this video because cameras just don't translate how the dot looks in real life. The next reason is the auto brightness. This red dot auto adjusts to the lighting environment you're in. Even though I would prefer an option to set the brightness of the red dot, it's still not a deal breaker as long as the auto dimming works well. The auto brightness for the Hex Wasp mounted on this RDP sometimes doesn't work well. There were times the dot didn't get brighter when it should have, and vice versa. Also, the dot looks pixelated to me. When you move the dot around fast, it kind of flickers or breaks up a lot. My guess is that the red dot has a low refresh rate, and that's why it does that. In this video, you can see the dot refreshing when I hold the gun still. You can also see when I move the gun around fast, the dot breaks up. This looks worse in person. This is a Holosun 507K, and you can't see the dot refresh when I'm holding the gun still. When I move the gun around fast, the dot doesn't break up as much. Keep in mind, in person, the dot looks way better and doesn't break up at all when moving the gun around fast. The RDP slide is also cut for a 507K, and in my opinion, I would go with this optic over the Hex Wasp any day. And last, the Hellcat RDP comes in two models, one with the thumb safety and one without. So whatever your opinion is on thumb safeties, they have you covered. So to wrap things up, the question is, given the upgrades that come with the Hellcat RDP, is it worth the increased price? To be honest, if I was looking to buy a Hellcat, I don't think I'd purchase the RDP. The reasons why I don't think it's worth the extra money is because the comp doesn't decrease the recoil enough to justify the added size and weight. I don't think the Gen 2 trigger is that much of an upgrade over Gen 1, and I'm not a fan of the Hex Wasp red dot. So if it were me and I wanted to buy a Hellcat, I would save some money and go with the Hellcat OSP. You could take the money you saved and purchase a Holosun 507K to install on your OSP. Guys, if you thought the video was helpful, please hit that thumbs up button. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Every subscriber helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.